Did you know that late payments are illegal? Most people fail at credit repair because they send generic dispute templates that they find online. The CRAs reject these instantly. To actually delete a late payment, you need to stop sending these templates and start citing the specific federal exclusion section 15 USC 1681A to AI. Check it out. Okay, so we've opened up our Google browser, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to open up your phones, and I want you to open up your Google browsers. And in your Google browser, I want you to type in 15 USC 1681A. 15 USC 1681A. We're going to go to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. This takes us to the Cornell Law website. This is where we will find our consumer laws. And now we're in 15 USC 1681A, the definition section. We're going to go down to 2AI, the exclusion section. This is a very important section of the consumer law. This is where late payments are illegal. Check this out. Here's some game. 2AI. Exclusions, except as provided in paragraph 3, the term consumer report does not include. It does not include. It's excluded. Subject to section 1681S3 of this title. What's excluded? Report containing information solely as to transactions or experiences between the consumer and the person making the report. Let that sink in for a minute. And let's read it again. Exclusions, except as provided in paragraph 3, the term consumer report does not include report containing information solely as to transactions or experiences between the consumer and the person making the report. So think about that deeply. What does that mean to you? Okay, so we made it to 15 USC 1681A to AI. But let's really dissect what this means. So exclusions, except as provided in paragraph 3, the term consumer report does not include a report containing information solely as to transactions or experiences between the consumer and the person making the report, right? So within law, what you'll see is a lot of these words have these hyperlinks attached to them. You can see in this one here, the term consumer report has a hyperlink. And when we click on the hyperlink, it would take us to a definition that looks like this. It'll say, in general, the term consumer report means any written, oral, or other communication of any information by a consumer reporting agency bearing on a consumer's credit worthiness, credit standing, credit capacity, character, general reputation, personal characteristics, or mode of living, which is used or expected to be used or collected in whole or in part for the purpose of serving as a factor in establishing the consumer's eligibility for a, credit or insurance to be used primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. B, employment purposes. C, any other purpose authorized under Section 1681B of this title. So the term consumer report is very all inclusive, if you will. If we take a look at the definitions, it includes pretty much anything and everything that could relate to you and your consumer report. Okay, so let's go back to 15 USC 1681A to AI, the exclusion section. So if you're like me, when it comes to deciphering law, I have to read it and then digest it and reread it and digest it for it to actually hit home and make sense, right? So let's read it again. Exclusion, except as provided in paragraph 3, the term consumer report does not include. So we just defined what a consumer report was, right? Pretty much anything. Anything that relates to your caricature or your reputation as it relates to credit, right? So the term consumer report does not include, it is excluded. A report containing information solely as to transactions or experiences, right? Between the consumer and the person making the report. So a report containing information solely as to transactions or experiences. Think about that for a second. Let it set in. What is a transaction? What is an experience? These are the questions that you should be asking yourself. What does that mean to you? Think about it deeply. So, what it means to me is this: transactions are late payments. This is why late payments are illegal. Any late payment that's on your account right now, uh, the person furnishing that information on your report is breaking the law. They are fraudulently reporting that information. Uh, they are not playing by the rules. They're not playing the game fairly, right? Late payments are illegal. A late payment is a transaction. A charge off is a transaction. A collections account is a transaction. Any type of negative account on your consumer report is a transaction, right? And what does it say about transactions? They're not supposed to be included in your consumer report. Now let's take a look at experiences, right? What does experience mean to you, right? Experiences to me is your personal information. Any type of personal information that is incorrect on your consumer report is to be excluded from your consumer report. Inquiries, inquiries from creditors, from banks, from auto dealerships that stack them up when they go run your credit to get you qualified for a loan to buy a car. These are experiences. Experiences are to be excluded from your consumer report. Okay, so now we know what should be included and what should be excluded from our consumer report. The next step is to draft a letter, right? And we're going to draft a letter, first of all, to the creditor who is reporting the late payment on our consumer report. And we are going to cite 15 USC 1681A to AI, the exclusion section, specifically that this transaction and experience should not be included on our consumer report. And we're going to send that directly to the creditor. We're going to send it certified mail with green return receipt. Why is this important? We need to know and we need to have proof that the letter gets delivered to the creditor, right? So here's the sauce. If the creditor does not reply within 30 days, we can take that green return receipt and write another letter to the CRAs, the credit reporting agencies, telling them that this creditor did not report back to us or open up an investigation. So, therefore, this late payment must be deleted from our consumer report. It must be. That is the law. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something that you can learn to do yourself. In fact, we have an Elevate Credit Beginner's Guide to repairing your own credit. I want you to text the word late payment to 458 658 9319. It's 458 658 9319. Text the word late payment and we'll get you that Elevate Credit Beginner's Guide to your success. Salud.